Welcome to Category 5 Technology TV, episode number 377 for Tuesday, the 9th of December, 2014. I'm your host, Robbie Ferguson.
And I'm Kelsey Jensen.
Today I'm excited because 3D printing is making its way to mainstream consumers, home printers that you can print at home. And we've got Tom here from POIEO3D. He's going to demonstrate one of those 3D printers to us today. We're going to talk to him about their new family-friendly, kid-safe 3D printer in just a couple of minutes' time. Excited about that.
Yes, me too.
Sasha.
This is Category 5 Technology TV. Starring Sasha Dermatis, Hillary Rumble, Krista Wells, Eric Kidd, and your host, Robbie Ferguson.
This is Category 5 Technology TV. I'm Robbie Ferguson, and I'm joined today by Tom and Matthew Zelenka, who are a part of this company that's manufacturing this. It's called POIEO. I'm going to get you to talk all about it, but this is cool. This is a lot smaller than I was expecting.
Yeah.
It's nice to have you two here.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Can you tell us about the company and what it is that you're doing with POIEO?
Well, I guess to start out, how we started out is a number of different families who just love technology. And when we looked at the world today, we saw a changing environment where 3D printing was really a transformational technology, changing anything in terms of manufacturing or how parts are made to how parts will be delivered. I mean, today, a company may, make a pair of shoes, and they'll make 20 different sizes and 6 different colors, and 80% of those will end up sitting on the shelf, right? Not being purchased and being sold off.
That's interesting. I've never thought that.
So imagine the day, and it's probably not too far off, where you order a pair of shoes on Amazon or wherever your favorite site, and you pick the size, the color, and it just gets printed right there and then. So there's no waste, right? And the product is fit exactly to you.
Is this the dream? Is this
well? It's the dream, but it's probably not too far. Not for home necessarily 3D printing, but in general, right? So there's cars being 3D printed. At a recent car show, a whole car was printed in about 40 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's all kinds of applications in healthcare, from printing heart valves that fit perfectly, to tooth implants, to all kinds of things, to even in confectionaries, to printing chocolate bars that are in just the right shape, right, with the heart and whatever your name on it.
Very cool.
So the applications are so widespread, and what we wanted to do is have our kids just really introduced to this technology, which is so transformational for the future. And when we looked out there at what was available in terms of 3D printers, we found either they were probably too expensive compared to what we wanted to pay or able to pay, really, as a family with a number of kids.
Well, they're traditionally used for commercial and industrial use.
Exactly, yeah, traditionally, and that's the other thing. Traditionally, typically you'll see they're very industrial looking, so big, with lots of bolts and black, and looks like it should fit in a factory more than in the home. So we worked with some very talented engineers to put together, like 3D print engineers, to put together what we thought would be a good vision for a printer that we would love to have at home and have our kids be able to use, be safe enough, and fit in a home environment. And so we made, essentially what is the POIEO3D. And we loved it so much, and our family loved it so much, and the market research that we did with other kind of families, they thought, it's great. So we thought, well, why not let other families benefit from that as well? And it's truly a great thing to have at home. Like, I mean, kids love to play with toys, obviously, but it's so much more rewarding when they can make their own toys as opposed to just buy them, right? And we'll talk about it a little bit more, but I mean, there's thousands and thousands of things you can download online and print out. But that was basically the foundation of how we got started.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Can you
Pick up. Go
see
ahead.
some
Yeah.
One of the questions that I wanted to ask is how accurate the POIEO3D is. And looking at these kinds of models, I assume that these were all printed on the POIEO3D.
Correct. Yes.
The level of detail is incredible.
Yeah. So
see that at home. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if you can zoom in on that, but basically the way it works is you can open and close the jaw.
Yeah. So this is printed as multiple pieces?
Yeah, that's printed as 4 different pieces, the upper and lower part of the jaw, and then the stand is 2 different pieces.
Cool.
But the way the 3D printer works, you can imagine almost like you might build a skyscraper, where you build one level of the skyscraper at a time, and one builds on top of the other. Except
not that I've ever built a skyscraper.
Well,
but I understand the concept.
But you understand the concept, yeah. But the way it works is one level of our skyscraper, it's thin as a piece of paper. It's about 1/10 of a millimeter. So in terms of the precision, that's kind of how exact it is, like up and down, and left and right. It's pretty similar. It's that level of precision. So it's quite precise.
You've brought your son Matthew with you.
I did, yes.
And I see you've got both your hands. So this thing has got to be. I'm afraid of this with my kids because I've seen the laser cutters and the way that 3D printers work. How do you ensure that my kid is not going to hurt?
Well, I mean, that's definitely one of the things that we took into account.
Let's talk about it in just a second. But Matthew, can I get you to actually show us how this thing works?
Sure.
Because I understand that this is a safe unit for kids to use. Yeah, and easy too. That was the other aspect. It's wide open. There's no glass here.
Yeah.
It's wide open, but it's not so fast moving that the pinch point would create a big hazard.
You go ahead, Matthew.
But why don't you go ahead and start it?
Talk about the safety of this device.
Yeah, and what we've done is some 3D printers require an enclosed environment where it's kept very hot, or actually, Matthew will maybe show how it works.
Actually, sorry, I don't mean to step on. I'm really interested in the safety of this, having 3 young kids at home. But this is neat. What software are you using here, Matthew?
The POIEO3D software.
Oh, so you have a proprietary software that?
Yeah, it's a software that comes with it. So basically, I mean, you can speak to it, but he just kind of dragged in a part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, there's many parts. Yeah.
It looks very much like a Blender kind of. Blender 3D kind of interface. Yeah,
and then you can make things different sizes. You can scale them.
Yeah, you can size it like 0.3.
Can you see the screen?
Make it even smaller.
That's neat. Oh, so you can actually scale on the screen how big you want this thing to print.
Yeah. You can figure out how big you want it.
So is the idea I could buy this toy.
If you could find
we could have a Category 5 3D modeled logo.
Yeah.
And people with this printer could then print one and have it on.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
And then you would just press run, and it would start heating up.
Starts heating up. How hot does this thing get? Am I going to get burnt sitting so close?
No, I don't think you have to really worry. The only thing that heats up is a tip that's right inside, and you can't actually really access it very easily. And it heats up, and it's almost a little bit like a hot melt glue gun, you can imagine. So that plastic that's coming out into the top warms up, and then takes the shape of wherever the printer moves around.
So the printer hot plastic. Is there any toxicity to
No. So the material that we've chosen, it's actually it's something called polylactic acid, which is complicated, but what it is it's something made out of cornstarch or renewable resources. So essentially what it's made out of is something that's biodegradable.
Yeah.
So, if these things ever actually end up in the dump, they'll just biodegrade in a fairly short period of time. Yeah.
That's good thinking, because one of the things that I think with having a home 3D printer, I know my kids are going to get into the software. They're going to print 1,000 of these. And Dad's going to come along and go, okay, well, what do we do with 1,000 of these? And I don't want to see these kind of things filling up the landfill.
Well, that's exactly it, right? So they're almost like they'll biodegrade fairly quickly.
So what's happening right now?
So right now it has to come up to temperature, so it builds so it can build the plastic.
Yeah.
and so it'll take a minute or so to do that, and eventually it'll start printing our little octopus.
Very cool. Matthew, do you mind grabbing that spool there?
Yeah.
Just so I can show the viewers at home.
Yeah.
Because you can't see this.
Yeah.
There's a wire of plastic going back to a spool that is run on the back of the printer, and it's all solid blue. And I see a solid yellow here.
Yeah, so this is solid yellow, and it almost looks like it's a little bit thicker than a fishing line.
Okay.
But it's closer to if you have a weed whacker, that kind of a line.
Okay. Yeah.
But the other interesting thing about this material is that it doesn't smell when it's heated. So for any of those people that have been in like a plastic factory and it really smells
that's what I'm
plasticky,
thinking, melted plastic.
yeah, you don't want that in your home, right? So it doesn't
Yeah.
smell like that because of the material that it is and what it's made from. It doesn't give off an odor like that.
That's good because that's a smell that you know it gets in your furniture. It gets in.
Yeah, you don't want that in your home.
Never a good idea.
Absolutely.
So the accuracy of the printer, how is there a way that you measure, like I think graphically, I think dots per inch, and how do you measure accuracy?
Yeah, so typically the way it's measured is in terms of how thick the resolution is. So in this case, our resolution is 0.1 of a millimeter, which ends up being...
That's small.
It's like a thickness of a piece of paper. And that's in the Z, and the XY directions, it's pretty similar.
Okay. Right, you've got to... This is totally different from printing.
Yeah.
You've got to think in 3 dimensions.
Yeah, you got to think in all dimensions, right?
Yeah.
So you have accuracy this way and this way and this way, but it's quite accurate in all the different dimensions. And so you can see some of these parts.
Yeah.
Even
so this is levitated.
Yeah. So what happens is the platform comes up to the first.
How close in can we get here to see what's actually happening here?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it comes into the first layer.
Yeah.
And it'll start printing that, and then that platform moves down a little bit for each subsequent layer until it kind of prints out the whole piece of material. And you're asking about accuracy, so something like this. I don't know if you can zoom in on that, but it's like a little.
Oh, look at that!
It's like a little robot, yeah, a little robot toy, and it printed in like one go basically.
Yeah.
And for it to be able to move after. Like all the little joints have to have a little space between them,
right?
And so it's accurate enough to keep such a little space that it still works.
So when this came off the printer, was it in this form?
That's it.
You
Yeah,
didn't have to snap it together. You didn't have to.
No, it didn't snap together.
Folks.
You just have to spread it apart so it starts
the
moving.
Hands move. The head moves.
The head moves. Yeah. And the interesting thing on that little piece too is you can change the color. So it was printing yellow, and then we just switched the color, and then it would print. The head would print out a different color
in one
fell swoop.
And it articulates.
Yeah, it articulates. Yeah. So there's so it's a fairly accurate machine to be able to do that. It's similar accuracy to what you'd see in the industrial printers.
Sure.
That are of the same type.
Okay. So the spools that you're using to do this, one of the things with 3D printing, I assume that there is a fair... You're looking at the consumables could potentially cost a fair bit of money.
One would think, yeah. One would think, but the other aspect that we're trying to do here is to make it affordable not only to purchase, but then to subsequently use, because obviously
that's the thing. You could buy one and then it'll sit on the shelf because it's too expensive to
like my color laser printer at home, that costs me more to buy the refills than it does to the original printer.
How does that make any sense?
But here it's not really that way. So a spool of material will cost probably about $25, but it'll run you a long way.
That big spool that we see there?
Yeah, a spool of that size. And any of these things that are on the table, like this little car, for example, that you can move and play around with.
Sure.
Probably about $2 of material.
Wow.
A little rose.
You think about a car and you think, okay, well, $2, so I can buy a car cheaper. But the lesson that the kids are learning and the skills that they're developing in creating these 3D models, there's value in that as well.
Well, that's where we see the value, is actually the kids learning about 3D modeling themselves.
Yeah.
And if we had more time, we could do it as well. But Matthew, for example, he printed out his own nameplate, or made bookmarks with your name kind of cut into it.
So Matthew, how do you
for
go
his
about
friends
that?
at school.
Are you creating 3D models yourself?
Yeah.
Does the software assist you with that?
Well, there's another software that I use to like make it my own.
Yeah. So you can create
Yeah.
your own
Yeah.
products and
Or like a cup, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a cup and things like that. So the kids are not only learning, to make toys,
yeah.
but it's an investment actually into their future, so they can conceptualize, 3D shapes and models, and actually learn the skills that one day, as they grow up and kind of enter, society as productive human beings, they'll be able to actually use those skills down the road as well.
You mentioned cups, just as a bit of a side question that raises. Is the product safe to drink out of, for example, or it's
more for show?
Cups.
And I mean, my daughter has some cups for her dolls, she's like a little tea set and so forth.
Cool. All right.
But I mean, as long as it's not hot. I mean, you wouldn't want to put hot coffee, but just for water
Just like
and things
any
like that.
plastic,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, it would be fine for that.
Cool. How much is this whole kind of kit to get started and get you set up?
Yeah, to get started, so right now we're offering our customers a pre-order. So as we get started, and that will cost in Canadian dollars $649, including tax, which gets you started as the printer, a roll of filament, and the software that you need to get started. So you just start that. And we're also developing another aspect that we think is important is the education around this.
Yeah, I'm curious about when Matthew's talking about creating his own products and things. Like how, if I sat down with this, I would be a little bit lost with 3D software.
That's it.
How do you go about?
Well, that's
letting people know how to use the product?
Yeah, so this is what we're doing, is we're developing, and as part of the package will be kind of this online education center that we'll offer our customers, where there will be kind of a lifetime of material in terms of how to use the product, how to do little projects, how to get started, how to troubleshoot, or how to do little projects like this, where you can like scan your child's head.
Really?
Right, to create a bust and then print it out, and then
could you do the President of the United States?
You could, yeah. So you can make your own bobblehead if you really want.
So how did you do this, Matthew?
You would have like a app on the iPhone, and you would take pictures all around
with your iPhone.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So you didn't need a Kinect sensor or anything to do a 3D bust?
No, so there's an app for iPhones where you can, or Android, I'm sure as well, where you can. You take pictures around, and it creates a 3D image that you can then print after. So it's projects like that where we can create. You can import it. Yeah, exactly.
That for the educational aspect of doing a project like that. Really makes me think of this in the educational sector, especially as 3D printing and manufacturing is flowing toward 3D printed parts for automobiles, as you mentioned, and
for anything,
pretty much anything, machine parts, and everything is going that way. And there's there are those that have been in the trade for many years who see it as when ATMs came in, the banks all didn't like it because they were losing tellers. And so here, tradespeople lose jobs to 3D printing, but the new generation with something like this in the classroom can be trained with the skill set in order to be able to take those jobs that are operating these new machines. It's just it's the same job. It's just a different way of doing it.
It's people doing different things. Yeah, absolutely. And we definitely see this as an important area. And the other thing that we're looking to do is develop educational programs that will fit with the curriculum at school.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can imagine some of the different endpoints that exist in the curriculum. Like, for example, there may be a section on gears and pulleys. Right. So when did you do that in grade 4 or 5? So you can imagine it's great to see that in the classroom. How a gear and pulley might work in a textbook.
Yeah.
And a picture's worth 1,000 words. So you can imagine if the children are actually able to create their own
things like that.
Gears, right, and put them together and make them work.
No.
Yeah, make them work. It's a lot more educational, right? And in terms of a lot more interactive for the teacher to be able to communicate the different lessons that are required. Or I mean, here we have the bones of a dinosaur, but same thing when the children are learning about biology. I mean, you could print, bones of the body or body parts or structures just to make it more interactive and interesting in terms of the learning experience. So I think it's a great product to have in schools, and really every school I think should benefit from 3D printing.
Yeah, I think that's really neat. And I'm really impressed with the quality of the products that are coming out of this. I never expected the wrench, for example. I just noticed that this is articulating too. Like this, this works as a toy wrench.
Yeah, and it prints actually in one go, the whole thing.
Unreal.
Yeah,
and we've got
interesting.
something that looks like a phone case.
Yeah, exactly.
I just clued in that, that's not just cool gears. That's
yeah, you can put your phone in there if you have an iPhone.
Make your own phone case.
Yeah, so there's lots of models to make phones or holders for your car for phones, or I don't know, you're coaching and you forget your whistle, you can actually print your own whistle. And here we made a fun one, a little whistle that has like 3 whistles together, so you can create your own, and you can blow it. You can make music. So you can make
I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, you've never seen, right? So I mean,
something you put on a store shelf.
Yeah, something interesting. So again, it's a learning experience also for kids to be able to put things together that maybe didn't exist before.
Looking at the product, it's moving around here. There's a lot of movement. This thing is moving up and down. There's a few wires here. It's pretty simple in its design.
Yeah,
looks fairly robust. What happens if I have problems with the product?
Well, we do stand behind the quality of our product, and are offering a 12-month warranty for people.
Okay.
For our customers. So if they have problems, we will have a service here locally in the Toronto area.
Okay.
So definitely, it's not something where where if there is an issue, we will stand behind the product, and are building a quality product. So I mean, there are moving parts, but I mean it.
Is it user serviceable? Would you say that?
There's certain things that are probably user serviceable, other things less so, and it depends how technical you are. But
I'm noticing, for example, there are standard fans for the cooling system.
Yeah.
That you can pick up at a hardware store. And
you would, but
fan ball bearings went out.
Yeah.
Just take out 4 screws and put in a new one.
You could, but I wouldn't expect that to happen. Like, you don't really, you shouldn't need to service them too often.
Sure. Yeah, it looks fairly robust, eh?
Yeah, and the only thing that you need to do is change your filament as you're changing colors, and the software is set up to make that easy to do. So you basically click a button and just follow the steps, and it just pull it out, put a new one in.
Now, this has been printing for, what, about
for a few minutes? Yeah, I don't know.
There's absolutely no aroma coming off this wall. There's no smoke. There's no heat apparent. I can't feel any heat. I can't sense any heat.
No.
But the smell, there's no smell at all.
No, there isn't. Yeah, you won't find any smell in your home. And this is the other thing. Like, I mean, you mentioned lasers or whatever. I mean,
you guys see that? It's almost.
It's coming there. Yeah, it's getting there. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's kind of neat to see. That's the amazing thing, right? You see something created in front of your eyes that before was just something you couldn't feel or touch, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you have. This is the other thing. I mean, there's games like Minecraft that are so popular.
Yeah.
And our kids love them as well. And it's interesting to have everything in space in the computer, but you can actually print out like the little house or whatever that you built, and then have a physical
in Minecraft and
have a physical
there you go
realization of it afterward. Yeah, cool. So it's very, very neat. I think it finished off.
I can take it off.
Okay,
yeah, so it's fairly slow. And then Matthew, you can.
No, but I like it. It's almost it's revealing.
It's revealing itself. Yes.
So is it safe for me to touch it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Is it hot or melty?
No, it won't be. It won't be too hot. There's a cooling fan that cools it.
I'm not gonna damage it or anything.
No. Well, what you have to do is you have to take this whole tray out.
I can take it off.
This is the other thing. It's kind
of stuck to it.
Yeah. Some of the printers you can have to chisel things off, but here you would just.
Oh, it's on there pretty good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It has to stay on, so it. Just take off some extraneous hairs and stuff, but there.
Okay, so Tom, how can
we have the little part?
How can we find out more about this device?
Well, I mean, probably the easiest place to go is on our website, which is www.POIEO3D.com, and there's more information there on the site about the product, some other details about specifications, and also certainly if interested to buy. So right now we are doing pre-orders through Kickstarter. So if you go into the section that says "Buy Now," it'll direct you into where you can get the great deal today.
Very good. Kickstarter creates this big long URL. What we've done for you at home, just to make it simple to get there, cat5.tv/3D print. And that's going to take you to the Kickstarter campaign.
Okay,
now,
perfect.
if I'm not in the market to buy a 3D printer right now,
Yep.
I understand the merits of this, the value of this to the education sector, to home users,
Yep.
and I want to support what you're doing. How can I go about that on the Kickstarter campaign?
Well, on the Kickstarter campaign, we do have lower levels of support other than purchasing a printer by itself.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's rewards starting anywhere, I think, at about, a few dollars. And for about $20, you'll get a 3D printed part.
Oh, cool.
And so there's different levels where people can, start providing support if they do want to just support the whole campaign for us to be able to bring this into the realization of homes and families around the world, really.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I have to raise the question, because I know my chat room is wondering this right now.
Yeah.
I see the software that you're running is on Microsoft Windows.
Yes.
Is there support or planned support for
For Mac?
and Linux?
Yeah, so there's the software once we have the production model done,
Yep.
we're porting it into Mac as well.
Okay.
So that's definitely
Any plans
there.
for Linux support?
And Linux support could be ported into Linux as well.
Okay.
It's not the immediate plan, but the nice thing.
Let's cast our vote right now.
But let's cast your vote. Yeah, I'm sure your viewers are probably. I see all the Ubuntu stickers everywhere. It's definitely feasible. The other thing is that although we have software that we've built for this,
yeah.
we haven't locked it down. So there's shareware software that you can use. So
is
we
the
haven't
source available, or is it?
Yeah, it's
Really?
open source. Yeah,
Okay.
so we haven't locked things up, and there are some companies that have done that.
Yeah.
And again, just for the learning experience and for letting it kind of grow, we don't feel that's the right direction we want to go.
Sure.
So there's software available for 3D printing in Linux, and you can use it with this printer as well. So you can use your
So
own
it will
software.
connect to
Yeah,
Linux
absolutely.
in its current
Yeah.
state using other software?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Just
because I
open
could
source
see,
software.
Again, looking back at education, thinking about colleges, universities that
Exactly.
are doing that kind of thing and working with open source technologies.
Yep.
I think Linux is a big player in that.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. Well, I'm speaking with Tom Zelenka and his son Matthew about this amazing POIEO3D printer. You can check them out on Kickstarter right now. It's cat5.tv/3D print. We printed something here today, and it didn't take too long to do. We can print much larger objects. Of course, we're limited to time, so we created something fairly small, but really impressive detail. Really cool. I presume you can paint them and things.
Yeah, you can paint them like the bust. Yeah.
Very cool. Is there anything else that we can cover tonight that you want people to know about your company?
Well, I think I think certainly if there's any questions, I want them to reach out to us. We're definitely open. There's also a contact us page there if people have questions that they want to know more about the printer, how to use it, or how to get in touch with us. We're definitely open to being responsive and getting back to our potential customers. And just hoping everybody has a great holiday coming up, and hopefully we can fulfill some of those wishes with our printer.
Sounds great. This is really cool. I thank you for bringing this into Category 5 TV today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
This is a really neat product, and you guys are based in Toronto, Ontario?
Correct. Richmond Hill, actually, but yes.
Richmond Hill? Okay.
Yeah.
And when are these available now? Can I get one now if I wanted it?
Well, you can pre-order right now, and we're going into manufacturing in January.
Great.
So the deliveries would be about April.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to post all the links for you in the show notes just below here in the comment section on YouTube as well. So if you have any questions, we'll have the links for you there. But don't forget to check out cat5.tv/3D print. This is a great looking product. This is so cool. It's smaller than a microwave. I don't know if you can really grasp the size of this, but there's my elbow, there's my fingers. So hold out your arm. That's the size of it. It's nice and small, nice and compact. So
It's a good form factor for
it really
fitting.
is.
Even in your kids' room, like in the desk, if they have like the overhead
True.
bookcase, like it
Is that
fits
safe
in there
to do?
nice.
There's no. I don't see.
No.
There's no fans or anything
No,
blowing out.
no,
There's
no.
nothing. No heat. No.
Yeah,
Very cool.
it doesn't get very hot, so.
Final thoughts, Matthew. What are your thoughts about this product? What could you see your friends using this for?
Well, I could see them using it for maybe printing out stuff they might give to their brother or sister for a present if they don't have the money to buy it, or other things like that.
Are we going to run into new copyright issues with this kind of thing?
Well, you know what? There's things like, you know, you can print blocks that are compatible with Lego.
On here?
Yeah. So it's not necessarily so
you do realize that Lego costs more than this printer.
I know it. Well, that's the thing, but it's not necessarily to take over Lego. But you know, the one frustrating thing when I was a kid, and I'm sure Matthew finds it too, is you have that nice Lego set, but there's that one block that you lost that's in the vacuum cleaner somewhere.
Sure.
So you can download that one block and print it out, and you can actually build that rocket ship or whatever it was. So
very cool.
Yeah,
well, we'll have to see how that comes into play. Certainly the custom models and everything are exciting.
It's very exciting, yeah. And like I said, there's two ways to get models. One is to build them yourself, like if you're a kid, right, hobbyists
Absolutely.
doing it themselves, or architects, or whoever else, or designers, or even kids. Or I mean, there's thousands and thousands of models available, like all of these ones that you've seen here, except for the bust, where came just downloaded off the internet, and it's all free, right?
Very
So
cool.
it's very neat. So people share and there's great source
Whole new
of information.
communities
It's a whole
created.
community, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for being here. Thanks for sharing your product with us. Very
my
excited
pleasure,
about
yeah.
the POIEO3D.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Thanks. Sasha, off guys. Really, it was a lot of fun having Tom Zelenka and his son Matthew here from POIEO3D. Thanks for being here on the show. Thanks for showing us your incredible product. And make sure, don't forget, go check out their campaign. See if you can throw $20, $40 in the pot to help support this thing. Or if you're in the market for a 3D printer, that is an available option for you as well. You can pre-order, and they will be shipping next year. That is cat5.tv/3D print. Thanks.
We hope you enjoyed the show. Category 5 TV broadcasts live from Barrie, Ontario, Canada every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you're watching this on demand or through cable TV, check out the local show times in your area at category5.tv and find out when you can watch live and interact in the community chat room. Category 5 is a production of Prodigy Digital Solutions and is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 2.5 Canada. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.